You can have it all. Great pay, awesome benefits, a flexible schedule, the chance to grow. At Cox, we're recruiting auto and diesel technicians to join our Mannheim and Fleet Services teams. If you're ready for a new job and want to experience an award-winning workplace, drive your career forward with us. Visit cox.career/autotech to learn more. That's cox.career/autotech.
Oh, sorry, that's for a Democrat show.
Let me know when you're ready.
Was an extremely great conservative commentator. We're tearing it up on Wednesday night. This is awesome. This
will allow me to retort.
Well, this is Jersey Joe for the Reaver of Common Sense show. I'm on shrmedia.com.
Actually, I just totally screwed up. This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show. And welcome to the Reaver of Common Sense. I am your host, Jersey Joe, and I'm here to make sense out of the senseless. Come on. What the heck? Why isn't that working? Why isn't that working, huh? Somebody tell me. Have you ever noticed the show can't just go off with no problems? Oh, boy. Well, we'll see how that goes. Don't tell me that just happened. I think my broadcasting program just crashed on me. I'll tell you in a second. Let's see what kind of picture we have. Yeah, that would appear so. Looks like I'm going to have to shut down the live broadcast and... It's never a dull moment, is it? So, shut that down. Hopefully that'll end the broadcast. Allow me to start it back up. Starting to get worried because I had an issue earlier in the day with this program and I thought it was just a simple little glitch. And now it seems to be more than just a simple little glitch. That's never a good thing. But welcome to the show, and while I get this ready, the Jersey Takeover is here. We have expanded it 2 hours every Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you want to watch broadcasts, go to Reaver.one once I get it up and running. And click on the SHR TV button. Button. Who's got the button? And you could also go to... All right, that's good. YouTube. You can search for SHR Media. And you can get some great shows that way. Keep up to date on the shows that way. You can also go to Facebook. I believe it's at Reaver of Common Sense for Facebook. So there's several ways you can go. And I was watching the replay and I looked a little. There we go. Brighten it up just a little bit. Looks like it was in a dark cave when I watched the rebroadcast last night. I was like, damn. So I adjusted the Ba-dum-bum, ba-dum, bum, bum, bum. The fun of live shows when you're doing it by yourself. It's pretty interesting. So, hopefully that'll fix it all. That's all I'm going to do for tonight. I shouldn't say that because I know myself better than that. Yeah, that fixed it. That fixed it right up. Now that hopefully we have all of our technical issues out of the way, that we can have a good show without any more issues. That is not a challenge to the gremlins. Republicans, there's a poll out there. Republicans still want the wall, even if it means a government shutdown. The Morning Consult / Political poll released Wednesday showed a majority of Republican voters would support a federal government shutdown if it could deliver the signature Trump promise of a southern border wall. The poll shows 51% of Republican respondents supported forcing a shutdown to fund the wall, with 26% of those strongly supporting such a measure. The corresponding figures for all voters were 28 to 14% respectively, reflecting strong opposition from Democrat and independent voters. Surprise. I know about you, but I am not surprised about that. Shirt all fixed. Among Tea Party supporters, there was even a greater acceptance of the idea of a shutdown to build a wall, with 55% somewhat or strongly in support. Only 45% of self-identified conservatives, however, were similarly on board. Republicans were united with other Americans in expressing generalized concern over a shutdown, with 72% of GOP voters saying they were somewhat or very concerned with the prospect of a government shutdown. Morning Consult quotes Speaker of the House Paul Ryan as opposing any such shutdown. I don't think a government shutdown is necessary, and I don't think most people want to see a government shutdown, ourselves included, Ryan said this month. The same poll puts popular support for Ryan's leadership 38% amongst voters and 62% among Republicans, of who only 19% strongly support the speaker. Tea Party supporters and conservatives were less excited than the party at large, with only 57% and 54% of each respectively supporting Ryan. Republican support for the wall in general remains robust, with 39% calling it a top priority and an additional 30% saying it is important but lower one. Only 12% of the Republican voters oppose the wall. Even with the population at large, opposition to the wall is firmly in the minority, with only 38% of total respondents saying building the wall should not be done. 39%, meanwhile, called building a wall a top important priority, and an additional 16% said it's not too important a priority. That is actually, those numbers are pretty good. I think when it comes to this next article, you're going to find out where some of the funding for the wall is. I got to talk about, God damn this headset damn thing. I was talking to my wife, and she said a couple of the girls at work got talking there, and yip. And one of the things they were talking about is Trump taking money away from Hurricane Harvey to build the wall. I was just like, really? It shows how much of a sheep they really are. It's Amazing how they don't look at the actual facts. That, and if you don't know what some of the funding was going to come from, was a large amount of money sitting in a coffer for emergency relief. It didn't look like it was going to be used. So they were going to take some money.
You can have it all. Great pay, awesome benefits, a flexible schedule, the chance to grow. At Cox, we're recruiting auto and diesel technicians to join our Mannheim and Fleet Services teams. If you're ready for a new job and want to experience an award-winning workplace, drive your career forward with us. Visit cox.career/autotech to learn more. That's cox.career/autotech.
Over the past 75 years, more than 10,000 chemicals have entered our food supply, but the EU allows just 300 additives. At Thrive Market, we prioritize quality, banning over 1,000 ingredients found in conventional grocery stores. Our Healthy Swap scanner helps you find better versions of your pantry essentials without the junk, dyes, or fillers, and everything is delivered right to your doorstep. So shop at a grocery store that actually cares about your health at thrivemarket.com/get started for 30% off your first order and a free $60 gift.
Money out of that coffer to help finance. Now they're saying pretty much this was way before Hurricane Harvey even was an itch in Mother Nature's crawl. What that means is this was done way before Harvey even came about. So now I'm hearing that they're not going to do it because it would really hit the fund too much with the cost of what Hurricane Harvey is going to be. And so now you know the liberals are going to jump all over it. And oh my God, he's going to take money from Harvey. He's going to take money from Harvey. You know they're going to do it. They're already starting it. And when I hear that story out of my wife, I just sat back. It was kind of like I was waiting for it. Just waiting for this to happen. But another way they're looking at some budgets is Democrats will have to block the Pentagon's 2018 budget in September if they want to stop President Donald Trump's plan to extend the nation's border wall in 2018. The border wall funds were included in the Pentagon's 2018 budget by a House vote on July 27th, leaving the 48 Senate Democrats as the only barrier to construction of a roughly 60 additional miles of wall and fencing. It puts them in a difficult position of voting against national defense in order to stop the improvement of the border wall, which is national defense, said Mark Krukonian, director of the Center of Immigration Studies. It is bad for them on both sides of the message. Not only do they not want to protect the border, they are also willing to sacrifice soldiers in the field to not protect the border, he added. It seems like House Speaker Ryan does deserve some credit. If he follows through, one second. Yeah. If he follows through, but we have to see what GOP Senate Majority Leader Mitch, I can't get anything past, McConnell does. It'll be difficult for Senate Democrat leader Chuck Schumer to explain why he is willing to hold up the defense budget hostage. A spokesman for the Federation of American Immigration Reform. The funding is what the administration requested. He added, Ryan has got it in there, and you can bet there will be a fight in the Senate where it takes 60 votes to get anything to the floor. The inclusion of border wall funding in the Pentagon budget also makes it more difficult for Democrats to demand a political payment for approval of the wall. This proposed payment could be an amnesty for the 800,000 DACA illegals, but immigration reformers such as Krikien want to delay any DACA amnesty until the Democrats agree to a major pro-American reform of national immigration laws. That reform could include approval of Trump's proposed wage-boosting RISE Act. The spending bill, also known as the Make America Secure Appropriation Act, was passed by a vote of 235 to 192. Damn it. I know I didn't get enough sleep last night. According to the committee statement, the bill includes the full legislative and funding for 4 of the 12 annual appropriation bills, including the Department of Defense, Military Construction, Veterans Affairs, Energy and Water, and a legislative branch appropriation bills. This funding extends through the entire 2018 fiscal year. Yeah. The bill package also contains a portion of the Homeland Security Appropriation Bill, approximately $1.6 billion, the full White House requested amount for physical barrier construction on the south border. The Democrats are going to have to find a reason to fight this, and it's not going to be easy. Gotta be allergies. Gotta be. I swear, it only happens right around the 9 o'clock hour. Damn it. Maybe this story, too, because it's kind of boring me, too. Basically, what it comes down to is GOP is not sneaking it, but they're putting it in a bill that if the Democrats vote it down, they're voting down national security. But you got to watch out with Democrats because they know how to play the game. They know how to put themselves in a good light no matter what. I mean, you got them right now, pretty much supporting anti-American Antifa. And they're taking somewhat of a hit, but I think not as much as they should. Now, Democrat senators facing rough 2018 re-election in purple states might not want to have to go home to explain an anti-wall vote to their constituents. That's going to be a good thing, too. If they are in a purple state or in some of these states that Trump won, they're going to want to break from their party. And they're going to want to do what's best for their career. But the one problem is we got Democrats who they believe their own rhetoric and they believe the media's rhetoric. Oh. Holy for holy. This bill will help guarantee that we are prepared to meet any threat from anyone or anywhere, from China in the Pacific to the international terror groups like ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Al-Nusra, Al-Shabaab, Hezbollah, Hamas, to transnational drug smugglers and criminal gangs. We're getting it from all ends. And this wall will protect more than just illegal aliens. From illegal aliens. It's not that hard to understand this. But Democrats are they want to play identity politics and play games than to step to the floor and be serious and play politician. To be there for what they're supposed to be there for. Not to play touchy-feely, where did the bad man touch you on the doll type deal. I'm sick of the Democrats and how their actions. I've said time and time again, we need a well balance between the two, between conservatives and liberals. Too much of one thing is not good, but the actions of the liberals at this point, the Democrats, is not healthy for this country. It is quite the opposite. Damn. All right, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, hopefully the allergies will be gone, and yeah, I can kick myself in the head a few times. You're listening to the Reaver of Common Sense right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, and we will be right back.
Listening to the SHR Media Network.
Breaking news. According to the latest report coming out of SHR Media, a merchandise store to support both the Reaver of Common Sense and SHR Media has just been unleashed to the general public. Be forewarned that this site can be contagious and numerous items can be purchased to support the best news programming. Go to Reaver.one website and click on the store link to check out the merchandise.
You have been listening to Reaver of Common Sense, hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the Reaver of Common Sense show, hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com and highplainsdailynews.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean.
Dude, I'm not saying cap for the stupid promo.
Sackhead Clint.
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
Also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch the Southside Mutt Show with its host, the Jersey Boys, Jersey Joe and Crash, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, where we will be digging up the dirt.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guide. Because truth is not always pleasant.
If you miss a show, don't worry. You can catch the replays two ways, rebootingliberty.com or the reaverofcommonsense.com. While you're there on Reaver of Common Sense, don't forget, drop in your email and keep up to date with everything going on, or click the like button on the Facebook widget. Now on to the Reaver of Common Sense.
listening to the SHR Media Network.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show. And welcome back to the Reaver of Common Sense, where allergies are just kicking my damn ass. Oh, holy shit, people. I don't think I've ever had allergies kicking my ass like this before. Actually, I want to bring up an article I was going to do the other night, and I kind of shot it down, but I shouldn't have, because I kind of like it. So let me bring it up real quick, because I don't want to be looking away off camera the whole time. So, I played you before, Virginia governor, saying how we shouldn't do away with Confederate monuments and all this other crap. I'm going to actually have to put it over here because there's a sound clip with it I want to play. And it blows my mind how they could change so quickly to suit their political needs. So, trying to pull it up. Because now the Virginia governor says Confederate monuments are symbols of hatred and let's take them down. Hopefully there's no commercial.
That speech is when I had taken executive action and removed the Confederate flag from all the license plates in the Commonwealth of Virginia. It was a very controversial move.
It started with just the Confederate flag. That's all. Just the Confederate flag.
I did it because I said, listen, this is a divisive symbol that is on the license plate, and as governor, I took executive action. Many individuals disagreed with my action at that time, so this was the first step. And now what we've seen after Charlottesville and around the country, that those statues have very similar significance to what went on when I took the Confederate flag off.
By a minority. A minority are upset. And every poll, liberal poll, everything, it is the minority that are upset about these statues. It's a minority of the people in America. Come on.
Took the Confederate flag off our license plates. They are symbol. Monuments should be unifiers. They are now symbols of hatred. And I have said, let's take them down. I do not have the authority as governor. The local jurisdictions do and the General Assembly. But let's go ahead and take them down and move forward.
Earlier this year, you were asked.
So, can we ban the Democrat Party? I'm really big on this, and I'm dead serious on it. They are the party of slavery. But it's the Democrats are complaining about statues of Democrats that were put up by Democrats. Anybody see a problem here? They're only doing it to cause issue. There is no issue. They're doing it to cause issue, to create an issue, so that they can get on TV and talk about it. Because what are we going to talk about? Them obstructing our democratic process, our republic process? No, they don't want to talk about it. They would want to create issues where there is none. And it's absolutely ridiculous. There's another monument coming down now in Hillsborough County. Another one. It's because there's a small group that's upset about it. A small group got their panties in a goddamn bunch. Oh, the statue make me upset. And how the Democrats are backing this is beyond me. And why it's not being put out there. Those supposed Confederate soldiers are U.S. vets. United States veterans are what they are. Sad day in this country. Sad, sad day. And it's actually sickening to see it. You have the Salon. The Salon. It's a joke of articles or website. They went on the attack against playing of the American national anthem at sporting events, calling the tune an example of a neo-Confederate ideology. The writer of the piece, Jefferson Morley, of the extremist left-wing website Alternet, began by discussing the history of Chief Justice Robert Taney, the Supreme Court Justice and famous for the Dred Scott decision. Taney's 1857 ruling said that slaves were legal property and could not be U.S. citizens. Taney was in the news recently when his statue was removed from Maryland State House grounds. From there, Morley proceeded into the history of the author of the Star-Spangled Banner, Francis Scott Keyes. He characterized the words as containing a neo-Confederate ideology, despite the fact that the song was written during the War of 1812, nearly a half century before the founding of the Confederacy. Morley goes on to insist that Keyes' lyrics, with its lyrics deriding black people, became a point of pride for Southerners after the Civil War. Specifically, the writer cited an attack on the anthem published last year by The Intercept, which claimed that the words "heralding and slaves" in the song's originally but little sung third verse represented a celebration of chattel slavery. I bet you they'd be good at writing fiction. The creativity that comes along with coming up with these bullshit ideas is astounding. Have we gone this desperate to create issues? Have we become that self-loathing in this country? The claim has been ridiculed by many historians who say that the words actually referred the British Navy's practice of impressing American sailors into serving the crown, essentially making them slaves to the British Navy. That practice, known at the time as impressment, was one of the main causes of the war. Even as Snoop's article from 2016 said, the claim that the verse is a celebration of chattel slavery is hardly a foregone conclusion, and that many historians dismiss the connection to Americans' peculiar institution. A further point tends to debunk the slavery claim about the song. Indeed, the verse of the song, officially enshrined as other national anthem, does not even contain a purported offensive verse. The verse had been written out of the song over the decades following the Civil War and up to the time it became our official anthem in 1931. Morley also maintains that the creation of Memorial Day implied equally of respect for the causes both the Federal and the Confederate armies fought for, instead of merely a way of respecting those who died in the service of their various causes. Morley further dismisses the possibility that the holiday was aimed at unifying a nation still riven by mistrust and dissension. Northerners certainly weren't interested in improving the Confederate cause in any of the decades following the war. Indeed, all the way until the 1900s, Northern politicians made their political careers waving the bloody shirt to attack the Southern cause. Morley offers many anecdotes and incidental examples, asserting that Southerners were racist during the era, but does not establish a link between the Star-Spangled Banner and that racism. He writes, for instance, of an incident in 1931 where ex-Confederates and Southerners carried Confederate flags in a Maryland parade. A fact that some Northerners supporters didn't appreciate at the time. In fact, the old federal soldiers were upset enough at the inclusion of the flag to quit the parade. Morley wrote, "Still, he did not attempt to prove that the antidote has anything to do with the anthem." And in another place, he writes that the campaign to make the banner the national song was a sectarian movement, and then says that sect was the white supremacist South. As Morley chronicles the other songs that were brought into the competition with the Star-Spangled Banner, Morley claims that the Confederate sympathizers responded by taking their cause for making Banner our anthem to Congress. In the 1920s, as blacks and white liberals denounced Jim Crow laws and lynchings, the campaign for the Star-Spangled Banner became a way to wrap the ideology of the Confederate in the red, white, and blue bunting of American patriotism, he wrote. Throughout his piece, Morley repeatedly proclaims that those who supported the song were white supremacists, said the song was a way to wrap the ideology of Confederacy in the red, white, and blue bunting of American patriotism, and conflated that racist sentiment of the day to the song that would become our national theme song. However, nowhere did the writer show any quotes or proof that the song was published by supporter, specifically because the song itself is racist. He simply asserts the claim as a given, which left often do. They jump to a conclusion without any facts. They're attacking everything that is the American base. I don't know about you, but I'm getting fucking tired of it. When is this bullshit going to stop? They're not moving forward. If anything, they're heading backwards. They're losing support. You have the LA Times op-ed. ACLU should reject free speech in favor of social justice principles. A University of Chicago law school professor bemoaned recent decisions by the ACLU to defend free speech. In a Wednesday op-ed for the LA Times, the professor took to the pages of the Los Angeles Times to condemn the ACLU's recent decision to defend speech rights of white supremacists who rallied in Charlottesville on August 11th and 12th. In the aftermath of the rally, the ACLU released a statement defending the rights of the marchers, clarifying only the First Amendment does not protect who incite engage in violence. Writing in her op-ed, the professor questions the assumption commonly made about the ACLU history of defending the speech rights of extremists. She reminds readers that the ACLU primarily views free speech as a tool of social justice. That is, the First Amendment provides a means of expression for marginalized people to liberate themselves through expression. Commenters have rightly observed that the ACLU has defended far-right speech since its founding, despite fierce criticism. But there is a common and mistaken premise in this analysis. It assumes that the organization has always believed, as it does today, that freedom of expression is an end in itself. In reality, the early ACLU viewed free speech as a tool of justice, social justice, suited to particular purpose under particular conditions. I'm just having all sorts of buggered up night. The professor argues that ACLU's defense of Nazi speech in the 1930s was a product of the historical moment. Yet the ACLU's defense of Nazi speech in the 1930s was never untethered from the existential of its historical moment. In the words of co-founder Roger Baldwin, it was the only sound position to get the results you want, at least in this country and at this particular period. The ACLU weighted the transformative powers of worker strikes and protests against the possibility that America would succumb to fascism. The upsurge of progressivism that swept President Franklin D. Roosevelt into office made the former a reasonable bet. Towards the end of her column, the professor bemoans the eager defenders of the First Amendment, cautioning them to consider the impact of speech rights that were afforded to groups like the Nazis in the 20th century Germany. Today's First Amendment has plenty of eager defenders. As the ACLU reassures its agenda, it should consider a warning issued by a disaffected board member when on the brink of World War II, the organization assumes its current neutral posture. Speech and other civil liberties are meaningful only to men who dare to use them, he insisted. And before, during, come bread and water, come roots in the community, come respite from fear. You're listening to the Reaver of Common Sense right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio. We will be right back.
Listening to the SHR Media Network.
Breaking news. According to the latest report coming out of SHR Media, a merchandise store to support both the Reaver of Common Sense and SHR Media has just been unleashed to the general public. Be forewarned that this site can be contagious and numerous items can be purchased to support the best news programming. Go to Reaver.one website and click on the store link to check out the merchandise.
You have been listening to Reaver of Common Sense, hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the Reaver of Common Sense show, hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com and highplainsdailynews.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean,
Dude, I'm not saying cop for the stupid program.
Sackhead Clint,
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch the Southside Mutt Show with its hosts, the Jersey Boys, Jersey Joe and Crash, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, where we will be digging up the dirt.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guide. Because truth is not always pleasant.
If you miss a show, don't worry. You can catch the replays two ways, rebootingliberty.com or the Reaver of Common Sense.com. While you're there on Reaver of Common Sense, don't forget, drop in your email and keep up to date with everything going on, or click the like button on the Facebook widget. Now on to the Reaver of Common Sense.
Listening to the SHR Media Network.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show. And welcome back to the Reaver of Common Sense. Oh, I just may have saw that there was a major issue with the audio. Oh, boy. Yep. Oh, boy. Somehow the sound got shut off, and I didn't notice that. Oh, I feel like a goddamn ass. Oh, boy, oh, boy. Tell you, if it's not one thing, the problem with the software is the little equalizer line that shows me that their sound is so goddamn small, I can barely see it. Now, normally at the beginning of the show, I take a quick listen. Today, I didn't. I took it for granted. Guess that should teach me. Oh, boy. Have you ever had a day where just it doesn't seem like anything's going right? I tell you. DOJ has dropped bombshells in the Mendez corruption trial. Dozen more unreimbursed flights paid for by the co-defendant, Mel Jen. On Wednesday, the Department of Justice dropped a bombshell in the public corruption trial against Senator Bob Mendez. Have you noticed none of this is really in mainstream news? Now imagine if it was Republican Senator Bob Mendez. Oh, then that would be all over the news. Well, the trial is set to begin in New Jersey federal court on September 6th. It had been reported for some time that Mendez had previously acknowledged taking 3 trips to the Dominican Republic and Florida that were paid for by Melgen. When 2 of those trips were discovered, Mendez belatedly reimbursed Melgen the $58,500 expense associated with them. But in a 30-page brief filed with the court on Wednesday, the DOJ stated the press revealed for the first time that Mendez had flown free of charge multiple times in 2010 on a private jet, a fact that Mendez had omitted from the annual financial disclosure form that he is required to follow. Once exposed on January 4th, 2013, Mendez wrote a $58,500 check to Melgen to cover 2 round-trip flights more than 2 years after Mendez took them in 2010. And that's according to a DOJ brief. A few weeks later, when the FBI executed a search warrant on Melgen's office on January 30th, 2013, Mendez swiftly issued a statement. Senator Mendez has traveled on Dr. Melgen's plane on 3 occasions, all of which have been paid for and reportedly appropriately. That was a lie. The truth is that Mendez and his personal guests had enjoyed more than a dozen flights on Melgen's private jet dating back at least as far as 2006, not a single one of which Mendez had paid for or reported on his annual financial disclosure form. Mendez persisted in obfuscation just a few days later, telling CNN on February 4th that the reason he wrote the $58,500 check to Melgen over 2 years after the flight was that the payment fell through the cracks. A month later, Melgen repeated 3 occasional lies in an interview appearing in an online newspaper owned by Melgen. What both defendants' false public statements sought to hide was that the $58,500 check did not cover all of the private flights that Mendez accepted from Melgen. It covered just 2 personal trips that the defendant believed the public knew or would find out about. But Mendez and Melgen's lie to the public were aimed at covering up more than just flights. They were aimed at hiding a corrupt pact spanning 7 years in which Melgen showered many more things of value on the New Jersey senator than just flights on a private jet. Mendez reciprocated with official actions advancing the South Florida eye doctor's personal whims and business interests. Social media reacted quickly to the new revelations included in the New Jersey DOJ briefs. Democrat Senator Bob Mendez lived this lifestyle on bribes funded by a $105 million Medicaid fraud scheme. His trial starts September 6th. Now, he also tried to get that date changed and, all this other stuff to make sure that he could be around to vote. He tried to push that he is a senator. Too quickly, the judge shot that down. GOJ pointed out that Mendez was trying to get special treatment due to his title as a senator. The evidence at the trial will prove the defendant bribery scheme beyond a reasonable doubt, the brief continued. The remainder of the memorandum the GOJ wrote is intended to provide a guide for the court regarding the evidence the government will offer and to review several legal issues that may arise. Mendez's co-defendant, Dr. Melgen, was convicted on 67 felony counts of Medicaid fraud on charges that are directly related to the sort of illegal lobbying the federal government alleges Mendez undertook on Melgen's behalf. So what this is, you have a doctor who was billing Medicare, fraudulently. And he got a senator to jump in with him to help perpetuate that $105 million fraud. Not just, okay, 20, 30,000, $105 million fraud. And Mendez tried to use his influence as a senator. Melgen's fortune was anchored by his South Florida optometry practice and a substantial portions of that practice involved treating Medicare-eligible patients with macular degeneration, an eye disease treated with the drug Lucentis. His lucrative practice was threatened in 2009 when post-payment review of his Lucentis claims by the Center for Medicaid and Medicare Services revealed that he had billed Medicaid for millions of dollars worth of the drug that he never actually bought, leading to a formal demand that he repay Medicare $8.9 million in overbilling for the years 2007-2008. That is when Magellan called upon Mendez, as one staffer memorized in an email, to weigh in with CMS. Lucetice is a ejectable, preservative-free solution that is stored in single-use vials. The label approved by the FDA specifies each vial should only be used for the treatment of a single eye. If the collateral eye requires treatment, a new vial should be used. Each single-dose vial, which costs approximately $2,000, is deliberately packaged with more Lucentis than is actually needed for a single dose in case any is spilled while preparing to administer the drug. This overfill ensures that there will be a sufficient amount for the dose. Any overfill that remains after administration should be discarded. The CDC warns that using a single-dose vial to treat multiple patients risks infection. Medicare reimbursement policies reflect the one vial, one eye administration of Lucentis by allowing for full reimbursement of a single vial despite the overfill loss after the single dose from that vial is administered. Testimony from CMS officials, Mendez staffers, and others, along with internal records, correspondence, and Melgen's own admissions, will demonstrate that from at least 2007 through 2012, Melgen disregarded the FDA label, defied CDC warnings, and exploited Medicare's billing procedures. Under Melgen's direction, his optometry practice, VRC, routinely extracted, harvested, overfill from single-dose vials, used the overfill to treat multiple patients, and billed Medicare for each vial each time the drug was administered. Because VRC managed to extract multiple doses from one vial, but billed Medicare for each vial for each dose, Melgen was paid millions by Medicare for vials he never bought. And the good old senator helped him. Last week, Melgen's sentence on those convictions was surprisingly delayed until after the public corruption trial, giving rise to speculation that Melgen will become a witness against Mendez and return for a lighter sentence on those charges. He currently faces 25 years to life. Mendez is trying to get out of it every which way as possible. He's even going so far as to say that he wasn't in official actions when he spoke with Melgen. I love how when I was at EMT 24/7. I was at EMT every day that I had that certification. And I had to represent myself in that manner. Off duty, I was still an EMT and had to represent myself in a certain manner and held to a certain standard. But the senator wants to be treated like a senator at all times, but not be responsible for being a senator all times. He's trying to have his cake and eat it too. So another poll that was done, a Fox poll, finds that just 15% of voters approve of the job Congress is doing, while about 5 times as many, 74%, disapprove. That's a bit worrying than in January when 17% approved and 74% disapproved. For comparison, Congress hit a 9% approval in October 2013 following the government shutdown over the budget. Trump could use a win right now, and a tax reform probably represents his best opportunity to get something done legislatively. Republican pollster Shaw, who conducted the Fox News poll with Democrat counterpart Chris Anderson, but the public doubts anyone, whether an experienced Washington hand or an energetic outsider, can overcome the partisan dysfunction in Congress. Nearly 8 in 10 expect a tax overhaul won't happen this year. That's 78%. Reforming the tax is much more important to Republicans, 70%, than Democrats, 29%. Still, they share doubt it'll happen. 76% Republican and 79% of Democrats say it is unlikely Congress will pass tax reform. It's funny. You know, they want to do a tax reform, which take out a lot of these loopholes that Democrats hate so much, but yet the Democrats don't want anything done about it. That'd be because the Democrats, especially the politicians, are using those loopholes, which tax breaks they're called. They call them loopholes. That's tax laws. To make themselves richer and then complain about people being rich. It's beautiful watching it. It's like this choreographed dance. I don't know, but I can understand the trepidation of wanting it done and thinking it's going to get done as two different things. Listen, you're listening to the Reaver of Common Sense right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, and we will be right back.
Listening to the SHR Media Network.
Breaking news. According to the latest report coming out of SHR Media, a merchandise store to support both the Reaver of Common Sense and SHR Media has just been unleashed to the general public. Be forewarned that this site can be contagious and numerous items can be purchased to support the best news programming. Go to Reaver.one website and click on the store link to check out the merchandise.
You have been listening to Reaver of Common Sense, hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the Reaver of Common Sense show, hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com and highplainsdailynews.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. You didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean,
Dude, I'm not saying Catholic stupid program.
Sackhead Clint,
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch the Southside Mutt Show with its hosts, the Jersey Boys, Jersey Joe and Crash, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, where we will be digging up the dirt.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the Unpleasant Blind Guide. Because truth is not always pleasant.
If you miss a show, don't worry. You can catch the replays two ways, rebootingliberty.com or the Reaver of Common Sense.com. While you're there on Reaver of Common Sense, don't forget, drop in your email and keep up to date on everything going on, or click the like button on the Facebook widget. Now on to the Reaver of Common Sense.
Listening to the SHR Media Network.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show. And welcome back to the Reaver of Common Sense. I'm your host, Jersey Joe, and I'm here to make sense out of the senseless. Don't forget, coming up, top of the hour, will be BZ's Bobcat. There's BZ Berserk Bobcat Saloon. Oh, my God. Oh, I can't wait. No offense, guys. I love yous, but I can't wait till the show's done. So I could just go. I'm going to go lay down and go right to sleep. I'm starting to feel like shit. I'll tell you that right now. Oh. Let me get finished with this poll that was done. More viewers view Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell negatively than positively by 29 points. That's 20% favorability to 49% unfavorable. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer is viewed negatively by 7%. That's 27% favorably, 34% unfavorably. House Speaker Paul Ryan is a net negative of 13, 35 versus 48. That's 35 favorable, 48 unfavorable. While House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi is a minus 21, 31 favorable, 52% unfavorable. That's pretty remarkable. 44% have a favorable view of Donald Trump, while 55% have an unfavorable view. That's a minus 11 points. But look at the favorability, 44%. Nancy Pelosi's favorability is 31%. Paul Ryan, 35%. Chuck Schumer, 27%. Mitch McConnell, 29%. You know, a lot of them are bitching about Trump and always pointing to his favorability. Look at theirs. They're worse than his. Congress as a whole is worse than Trump's. Vice President Mike Pence is in a positive territory with 46% favorability versus a 43% unfavorable. All right, the Fox poll is based on a landline and cell phone interviews with 1,600 randomly chosen registered voters nationwide and was conducted under the joint directions of Anderson Robertson Research and Shaw and Company Research. From August 27th to the 29th, the poll has a margin of sampling area plus or minus 3% for all registered voters. So what does that tell you? Congress is doing the worst out of them all. And as much as they bitch and moan, Schumer and Pelosi are doing worse than the president. Paul Ryan and Mitchell are doing worse. People are watching. We have what's called the internet now, and it's very easy to find facts out. That's why I try not even to go on Twitter that much anymore. Because all it seems to be is a bunch of idiots on both sides just arguing the same points back and forth sometimes. I'm not saying all, but it's like there's a lot of paid trolls just out there nowadays. And there's no discussion. There's just childish name-calling. And it just... it gets really tiresome watching it after a while. I go on Twitter here and there. I might make a comment here and there, but that's it. Same with Facebook. Social media, it's just not my thing. And, yeah, my show probably could be doing a lot better number-wise. But I'm saving myself a hassle from dealing with all that. I did it for a while, and, oh, my God, the death threats and everything else just rolled in, and the stress level can go up. As much as I find it funny sometimes, it's just, oh, my God, these people are nuts. And nobody has any self-respect anymore or any self-control. Hold on. Oh, touchdown Redskins. Today's last game of preseason games. Ooh, looks like Tampa Bay threw an interception. A little pick six action happened. Now, Camille Harris, she's out there trying to do whatever she can to get publicity. Which, it's... Now, she has announced that she intends to support Bernie Sanders' single-payer Medicare for All healthcare legislative at an Oakland town event on Wednesday. Speaking at a BB Memorial Cathedral in her hometown, Harris made the news near the end of the event in response to a question from someone who works at a nonprofit Alameda Health Consortium. She told the audience that she was going to break some news and said, "I intend to co-sponsor the Medicare for All bill because it's the right thing to do. It's just the right thing to do." No, they're going to do it because they think it will buy votes. They think it will buy votes, so that's what they'll do. Harrison laughed after making her announcement and said, "Someone should tell my staff." She added that she believes health care is a right and not a privilege. You can think whatever you want. There's people that think Martians are real. You could think that mud pies taste good. Doesn't make it so. Harrison may be positioning herself for a 2020 White House run, and her single-payer announcement is significant because she has taken considerable heat of late from Sanders supporters who think she is too beholden to big-money donors like Hillary Clinton and do not like the fact that she was once a prosecutor. Sanders thanked Harris on Twitter, tweeting, "Let's make health care a right, not a privilege." I intend to co-sponsor the Medicaid for All bill because it's just the right thing to do. Oh, my God. Oh. SPL, Southern Poverty Law Center, has declared 3 American largest Army bases Confederate monuments with the potential to unleash more turmoil and bloodshed if activists don't take down the Army base. The SPL's Southern Poverty Law Center include Fort Hood in Texas, Fort Bragg in North Carolina, Fort Benning in Georgia, on a list of 1,500 Confederate monuments that the Southern Poverty Law Center claims could inspire more violence like what happened in Charlottesville, Virginia last month. All 3 bases are named after Confederate military leaders. The list makes no mentioning of renaming namesake of Confederate monuments. Taking the monuments down is presented as the only option. The recent leftist campaign against Confederate namesake and monuments has included a willingness among some far-left actors to destroy government property to accomplish their goal. More than 1,500 Confederate monuments stand in communities like Charlottesville with the potential to unleash more turmoil and bloodshed. You know what, Southern Poverty Law Center, who you like to declare hate groups, the one that you're protecting is the one that is unleashing the turmoil and the bloodshed. Those monuments didn't do shit to you. These Antifa and Democrats are the ones that are creating the turmoil. Elementary, middle school, local streets, and entire towns are included on the Southern Poverty Law Center's list of Confederate monuments. Is Robert Byrd on that list, I wonder? Please tell me. The SPLC is urging leftists around the country to flood their local newspaper with letters to the editors urging the removal of monuments, although the group's campaign against the Army base could serve as a dog whistle for left-wing militants willing to take extreme measures to take down Confederate monuments. The SPLC's map of Confederate monuments resembles the group's hate map that has repeatedly smeared conservative organizations as hate group and inspired domestic terrorist Floyd Lee Corkin II to shoot up the Family Research Center in 2012. You know what? Southern Poverty Law Center should start to be held to a legal standard. Further listings. Don't get a sponsor because you're on the SPLC list. Sue them. Just lock them up in court. Do what the left does. They waste our money. Start wasting theirs. Sooner or later, they are going to run out. Antifa violence leaves leftists to question whether movement hurts or helps. About 100 black-clad activists carrying makeshift shields and gloves descend on a California college town of Berkeley over the weekend and viciously attacked a small group of peaceful protesters. Video footage of the protest shows groups of these activists kicking and punching demonstrators who have fallen in the street, swinging batons at others, and threatening to destroy the camera of anyone documenting their mayhem. Unlike the deadly clashes in Charlottesville, Virginia early this month, these assailants in Berkeley weren't far-right white supremacists or neo-Nazis, but a group of left-wing counter-protesters known as Antifa. Short for anti-fascist, Antifa members have over the last year increasingly made their violent presence known as progressive demonstration and counter-protests to alt-right groups and speakers across the country, leaving many to question Antifa's role in the leftist protest movement and to ask if the group is causing more harm than good. Well, when you don't have Democrats condemning their actions, as Democrats say, you're approving of their actions. And I have not seen them come out quick enough. I have not heard them come out and specifically name them or specifically condemn them. Even Nancy Pelosi came out, but she gave a generalized, not a specific, condemnation of Antifa. That's the big debate. Pamela Oliver, a psychology professor, sociology, ABZ, at the University of Wisconsin, who studied collective action and social movements, told Fox News most people think that nonviolence is the way to go and that violent, aggressive response could backfire. That is, play into the hands of the white supremacists by using violence. You know, I get tired every time, and the tactics that are being used. Don't like what the person's doing? Just call them a white supremacist or Nazis. That'll do it. That one group that was going to have a protest in California, he was what, a Japanese American? Or it's something, and he wasn't white, but a white supremacist is holding a rally. The attacks on whites is getting ridiculous. No proof, no nothing, just throw the accusation. Some of these people are getting their careers and their lives ruined over these accusations. For what? To silence free speech. And that's all it is, to silence free speech. Because they cannot win. The Democrat and the left movement cannot win against fact and rational people. So they have to silence us. You don't see me in chat. I'm right there. I'm having all sorts of technical issues tonight. All right, Antifa movement traces its roots back to militant anti-fascist operations in Germany in 1930s. But the emergence of these modern groups in the United States, which is predominantly comprised of radical anarchists and focus more on fighting far-right ideology than on encouraging pro-left policies, coincides with the rise of white nationalists following the election of Barack Obama in 2008. Since the election of President Trump, Antifa activists have become even more active, clashing with right-wing activists and police in cities from Philadelphia to Houston to Hamburg, site of this year's G20 summit. And I think they said there was over 2,000 crimes committed by Antifa within 2 days. There has been suggestion Antifa agitators were responsible for much of the destruction in Washington, D.C. on Inauguration Day. And while white supremacists and neo-Nazis were certainly to blame for much of the violence in Charlottesville, they claim that Antifa groups got aggressive first. All right, people, I hate to do this. I am going to cut out early tonight. I am not feeling good. Coming up in about 40 minutes is going to be BZ. BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon. And I'll be back hopefully tomorrow. Till then. Oh, man. I don't know. It's allergies if I'm getting sick. I think California is bleeding off onto me. All right, everybody, have a good night.
You've been listening to the Reaver of Common Sense with its host, Jersey Joe. You can tune in every day, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on hppundit.com and shrmedia.com.